The economic crisis means many people are feeling the pinch and financial deals can turn sour. So what do you do if someone who owes you money won't pay up? Well, you call in the most powerful bailiffs in the land. They can turn up uninvited, enter property and seize goods. And they're not always popular.
Mr. Burns? Mr. Burns?
And they rarely get a warm welcome.
We're here today to remove goods from the premises. Yes.
Why on earth for?
Because we're enforcing a High Court writ.
But for those owed money and facing ruin, they're often the last hope.
I am very, very close to make or break. The bank is on my back, and for months I've been trying to save the business.
Lawrence Griggs is a High Court enforcement officer. He and Kevin McNally are called in when debtors fail to pay up, even though a court has ruled they must.
I would say everybody's trying to make a living. You know, everybody's entitled to be paid for what they've done. Us collecting debts does stop some businesses going under. It does stop some people losing their homes.
Today they've travelled to Somerset, to the home of a builder who owes a builder's merchant more than £4,000.
Doors at the side. There it is. Mr. Burns? Mr. Burns? He can go two ways. We could now be annoying him so much by keep banging on the door that he could potentially come to the door with some kind of weapon. So we've got to be ready for him to be aggressive now, or he could just stay shut in there.
High Court enforcement officers have a lot of clout. They can climb fences, access properties through unlocked doors or windows, and even break into offices and factories. And they can seize goods. It's all in the day's work for the super bailiffs. In Plymouth, hotelier Joseph Louis is hoping they'll help him. Joseph lent a former business partner a large sum of money, but not all of it was paid back. The courts have ruled in Joseph's favour, but still the money hasn't been returned.
For 3 years I've been waiting for the money that I lent him for 3 weeks.
He's hoping to get back more than £150,000.
If he doesn't pay the money he borrowed, the business I don't think would be here for long. The staff would lose their jobs and the city would lose something we're proud of.
The debt has left the business with a cash flow crisis.
It should have been an invoice paid on Monday, and I phoned this morning, they say it's been paid. It's not. I'm just in front of my computer. £6,882. It gets to the point that you really need to chase people for £6,000. And, you know, it's a few £1 million business here. It shouldn't be the case.
For receiver Ian Walker, businesses with bad debts are a familiar story.
If they don't get paid, they can't pay their wages, and eventually they will fail unless they've got security to enable a bank to lend them more money to see them through those cash flow difficulties. But increasingly nowadays we're seeing the businesses have been struggling for so long, they've completely lost all personal wealth. There is nowhere else they can give security to the banks for.
With the recession, we've had sort of more cases coming our way, but potentially they're not as easy to collect on. We've had the last of the money people had, I think, over the last year or so, and it's getting progressively harder and harder.
Lawrence and Kevin will be heading to Plymouth later, but first they've a call to make in Axminster.
We're off to Shoot Road Garage.
They're chasing money owed to self-employed Martin Chappell. 9 months ago, Mr. Chappell bought a pickup truck to start a gardening business. He returned it to the garage because it was faulty, and that's where it's been ever since. The garage refused to refund him.
I paid £6,000, which to a lot of people may not be much, but A, it's a lot to me, and B, there's a big principle at stake.
It's held back his business.
It is a big concern. It's stopping me from moving forward, and I just feel that it's not right that people, when they've made mistakes or errors, aren't trying to put it right.
And putting it right is exactly what Lawrence and Kevin want to do.
I'll show us my ID. I'm a High Court Enforcement Officer.
Right, okay.
Okay. Looking for Candle Mine Shoot Limited Trading as Devon Trade Centre. Well, that's the writ as it stands at the moment. So that's 790608 we're looking for. Or else we remove assets. Of which I can see you've got plenty.
We should kind of leave our premises, gentlemen.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you. We are paying.
Okay,
Just got to slip through the net.
Okay.
15 minutes later, after a quick trip to the bank, it's all sorted.
Paid in full. It's just a case of getting the funds. They knew they had the debt. Weren't particularly happy, but when you've got this much stock on your forecourt, what choice have you got? So another successful job.
Later, the garage told us that senior management hadn't been made aware of the situation and that if they had, it would have been dealt with before the bailiffs were called in. Back in Plymouth, Joseph Louis is hoping for a quick result too.
Businesses, people's jobs is all on the line because of somebody's greed. So bailiffs, if they do their job, which I hope they do, it's right too. If they can't do it, then I'm concerned about justice.
Lawrence and Kevin head to the home of Joseph's former business partner, Paul Chapman. He lives in a gated development, and the gate is shut.
Let's see what numbers have been pressed.
Lawrence will climb over it if he can, but then a resident helpfully opens the gate for him.
Excellent.
I think that was my mind control that did that for us.
I think it might have been the lady in the car behind, actually.
This is one of Plymouth's most exclusive addresses, and the bailiffs hope Mr. Chapman, a former Plymouth Argyle footballer, is at home.
Hello there. Looking for a Paul Chapman? I'm sorry, he's not here. He's not here. I'll show you my ID. Hi, it's Mr. Griggs. I'm a High Court Enforcement Officer. Would you be Mrs. Chapman, by any chance? No? All right. Are you able to get Mr. Chapman on the phone at all?
But she won't let them in.
Okay, thank you.
She wasn't too impressed. She told us he was the cleaner. She was very smart and she was on the house phone as well. So I'm not entirely convinced by that. But I think it's fairly safe to say we're not going to gain peaceful entry. But I'll have a look round the back and see what's to be seen.
As Lawrence and Kevin note any items of value, Mr. Chapman's cleaner reappears.
Right, OK, I'll come and speak to you. But we really need to speak to Mr. Chapman to get this sorted out. We're here today to remove goods from the premises.
You're here to remove
Yes.
Why and as for?
Because we're enforcing a High Court writ.
But
I can't give you any details, but that's, we've been sent here today to enforce a High Court writ which orders us to remove goods from the premises. So we really need to speak to Mr. Chapman.
This is scaring me stupid, and I'm only here to do a job. So I'm sorry, but
Right. We're not here to scare you. Unfortunately, we're not going because we have a writ to be here.
So you're not leaving the premises?
No. Would you not be able to contact Mr. Chapman? No.
Oh yes, but I'm not giving. I don't.
Right. Well, what we're asking you to do.
I'm even speaking to you.
Well, all we're asking you to do. You've just said you can contact Mr. Chapman. No.
And ask him to come,
No.
to come back another
No.
time.
You've just told me you can contact Mr. Chapman.
I didn't say
Yes, you did.
contact him.
You
You'll have to sit here all day. That's
Okay then. The lady's refusing to speak to us. She's asking us to leave. We've refused because we've every right to be here, and that's where it stands at the moment. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully either the police or Mr. Chapman will turn up.
And after 20 minutes, Mr. Chapman arrives.
Mr. Chapman? Yeah. Mr. Griggs, I'll show you some ID.
sellers doing with them?
They're just following us around for the day.
Lawrence makes some checks. Is there anything here he can seize to help Joseph Louis recover his cash?
Mr. Chapman says he's borderline bankrupt. If somebody wants to make him bankrupt, he will be bankrupt. His business is gone. Everything's gone, basically. The house is on the market. The cars both belong to the lady inside. He's just gone off to get proof of that now. On the face of it, he actually seems quite genuine.
So,
but we do take that with a pinch of salt. It's not, we don't take anything for granted.
It turns out Mr. Chapman's cleaner is also his partner, but she has nothing to do with the debt dispute. Joseph gets nothing, despite his former business partner's luxury lifestyle.
I can see my business partner's palace, where he's living in luxury, and I'm struggling here. But I will see my money regardless. I will.
After the bailiff's visit, the builder from Somerset paid his debt in full. Martin Chappell got his money back, and his gardening business is doing well. As for Joseph, he's still waiting. Mr. Chapman is not bankrupt and still living in his luxury home. If nothing else, Joseph has learned an unfortunate lesson.
Don't be a me, don't be so stupid and trusty. But at the same time, I'm still trying. I hope I don't have to change. I mean, it's got to be trust somehow, but not too trusty. Don't be a Joseph. Don't be a fool.